Anyway, welcome. This is COM 2200 Media History. And if you see in the background, I do have a pony and a dog. So we do have a dog and pony show. And this is Juniper, my teaching assistant. She is a 9-month-old Australian Shepherd, and she keeps me company here on Lookout Mountain. We call her the welcome puppy because she says hello to all the tourists, and we have been banned from the local elementary school because she wants to play with the kindergartners too much. Okay, you go chase squirrels. She'll be back. But anyway, thank you for coming to Mass Media History. Shows you what we're going to do is, anyway, here is our basic syllabus and what we do. Here's my contact information. We're here all the time. Here's lots of yada, yada, yada. You can look at it, but I really like to do cutting through the yada, 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 because you see a lot of this in, okay, here's basic content. Why take this course? To understand the media and how it shapes our lives. Yes, it's the history course, and yes, it's gen ed, but it's also understanding free speech and the media. And while we talk a lot about the media, I'm not about to defend some of the crap that goes on, but I'm helping you understand how we got here. Understand why the media is the way it is, free speech issues, and what we can do about them. So it's general ed. It helps cause and effect, evaluate many perspectives, articulate a relationship between past and present, all that stuff. Real stuff. For tech, here's like where I break the mold. 4 tests, maybe 5, all worth 100 points. All online. I post them over a span of 3 days. You can take them anytime. There will be a test review, and test questions will ask you to use the material, not just repeat stuff back. Again, B is an average grade, and yes, I do curve them up. 5 essays, also worth 100 points. Also due Friday, the first one due Friday. We'll talk about that. Now, extra credit quizzes. When there is not a test or essay due, we have a short 5.1 question test just to like keep you focused. So you know, it's, I will tell you the answer if you just listen. And the reality of the extra credit tests is Canvas doesn't let me ask a question and just give you 5 points. If you miss the question, you lose 5 points, but it's just 5 points. But if you don't take the extra credit quiz at all, then it doesn't hurt you. I do everything I can just to give you that little extra boost. Most common grade in the course, because everybody worries about that, is a B. A B is not a bad grade. An A is still an A. And again, plenty of opportunities to get that A. So it's not hard, but you got to stay with it. Attendance, show up, pay attention, tell the truth, don't worry about outcomes. Obviously, you are showing up. I'm thrilled. Pay attention and tell the truth, duh. And don't worry about outcomes is my favorite part of that saying, because what that does is it says, if you're looking, oh gosh, I got to get a B plus in order to keep my scholarship, you're going to worry about that and not the question in front of you. If you just say the heck with it, don't worry about it, you will do better. I promise you. Okay, attendance, yes, we're online, but you still got to turn in the stuff on time. But especially with COVID, and I have the COVID policy posted, stuff happens. Just let me know. You know, if you get the automatic extension if on any assignments, including tests, if you let me know. But think of it like work. If you just disappear and don't show up for work, you're going to lose your job. And I can't let you think that you can get away with that in school or the real world. Easy to get the extension, just keep in touch. And that includes with COVID. You get sick, let me know. And check in with school and they'll do all those things. Anyway, so just let us know in advance. Here's what we will cover. Okay. First assignment. We'll talk about it in a second. I have it posted a couple of times. Basic stuff on history. What's good and bad history. Then historical methods, extra credit. And then in 2 weeks, we have our first test. Then ancient history. Back to the ancient times, cave dwellings. And our next essay is find something that we still use from ancient times. Then another test, then the 19th century, the 20th century, the internet, and the final exam, all online. Pretty straightforward stuff. It's the history. We will do a lot in print and the development of free speech. We will do a lot with free speech because it's important, particularly these days. Okay, nothing new in chat. Okay, so that's what we do. And back to what we're going to be doing. Here's our course. All right. One other little thing as we start. Again, I'm thrilled that so many of you are here and helping out and want to have discussions to facilitate that. And we have several people have already done the little introductions. Here is mine. Ta-da! When she was your puppy. I'm Dr. Jack Ziblick, AKA Dr. Z. I've been doing this. I'm originally from New Haven, Connecticut, where this like other school is, Yale. I didn't go there, but I grew up next to it. And I was a newspaper editor and writer. I've worked for all sorts of magazines and newspapers. Memphis Commercial Appeal. I hope we have some Memphians. I worked there. National Geographic. I've taught in a bunch of places. And I have a daughter who's 21 and I was just talking to who is studying theater in New York City, and we're doing FAFSA and financial aid and all. So, and she's online. I feel your pain. I understand. I see both sides of it. So we get it. So we're trying to help. I live on Lookout Mountain with the puppy. I worked at Rock City. And yes, I was their tallest ever known. Anyway, so that's my thing. I love the fact that so many of you have participated and we have more opportunities and Mary Kate has helped. Again, we're all in this together. We love to help. And so again, thank you. You can go Google. Anyway, So what we do in the course, all right, here's the COVID thing, like I said, um, is, you know, just let us know, report it to school if you're sick. I don't have to go through all of it. It goes on and on and on. But what we really do in this course is really look, and I try to make some of the history relevant, because surprise, it is relevant. Look at that. Just 2 weeks ago. And this is so much about the history, is what does the American flag mean? To this person who considers himself a patriot, this flag is his culture. It's saying states' rights, and the government cannot stop his free speech or his right to, or states' rights and his right to be a patriot. That's why to him, he has that flag. Now, to other people, the last time a foreign flag was in the White House was 1812, when the British burned the Capitol. This, to others, is an act of rebellion. To others, it's an act of racism. Who's right? Well, you know what? Welcome to college. We all have our rights and our ideas. I'm not going to stand up and preach at you. I'm going to say, hey, these are the issues. And again, those are the kind of things. I almost used that as the first essay because it is so relevant. But I really kind of defaulted to something a little less in your face and a little bit newsworthy. So we go back to what we have. The first assignment is something, and hint, 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 something happened with this issue in the past couple of weeks. And you can look that up on your own. I won't take off if you don't look into it. But Nathan Bedford Forrest, thinking of the Civil War, was a Memphian. He was one of the greatest generals of the Civil War. He was one of the smartest ones, great cavalry person and tactician. He was also a slave trader. He was also one of the founders of the Ku Klux Klan. And his statue was sitting in the foyer of the state capitol, and there you see him when you walk in. For years, we have had a Nathan Bedford Forrest holiday on top of that statue. There was a statewide Nathan Bedford Forrest Day. So a couple of years back, a lot of folks were saying, hey, why are we honoring a Confederate general who bought and sold people, who founded a hate group, which he later said, no, they're getting too crazy even for me. But he was still one of the founders of a hate group. He was still a slave trader, and he was a Confederate. He rose in rebellion against the United States government. To some, he was a traitor. To others, he was a hero. So my question is, what do you think? What should we do? So by Friday, and I will entertain early drafts. You can email stuff to me, give me your ideas. I won't say, I won't judge your politics. I will judge your presentation. Back up everything you say with a an example. 300-word minimum. I mean, I'm not going to sit, and if it's 288 words, I'm not going to care. But 300-page minimum, no maximum, longer is better. You always have to have at least one outside source to back up your ideas. And I'll talk a little about that in a second. As long as you back it up with a good outside source that you use in the copy of the essay, so, one according to, and then list them at the end, then you're okay. Here's, again, background, call for removal, and again, some background stuff. So there's 3 sources are right there. Little background on it. I gave you the basics. You can read the sources. One other thing, on essay writing. For this, as an example, here's some basic stuff. You need to have facts and back it up. Most I'm asking for is what they often call a 3-point essay, 5-paragraph essay. That's the basic format. You can do more. One of the biggest things that gets a little old is some people write just one long paragraph, and it's just one long thing, rambling thing. Paragraphs, 2, 3, 4 sentences each. And okay, yeah, don't copy the example, set it in stone. Don't, just use this. Start off with what your problem is. What is your background? Paragraph 1, for example, in July 2020, Governor Lee announced he was removing the statue after years of controversy. Should he or shouldn't he? He did last year take it down. So there's your background. This is what he's about. Then make your statement. By doing so, he caved in from political pressure from left-wing groups and media outlets. While he was a controversial figure, we need to preserve our history or not erase it, or it's about time he was a slave owner and a terrorist. Argue it one way or another, but say what you say. Paragraphs 3 and 4 use specific examples according to an article, yada, yada. Our 5 sum it up. Okay, here is good and bad writing. Bad writing. In regard to this topic, I believe the statue and the holiday should be kept. This in regard to, you don't need. We know it's in regard to. The I believe is not necessary because you're saying it. We know you believe it. Holiday should be kept is passive voice. Good version, we should keep the statue. Biggest thing is too often I get too much blah, 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 blah. Here's an example of blah, blah, blah. Here's good. Okay. Second issue of bad stuff. I think we should take it down because of history of racial issues. One of the biggest mistakes is something is broad and vague, and you will see teachers say that all the time. Oh, this is broad and vague. This is broad and vague. I think we should take it down because of history of racial issues. What racial issues? Here you go. Here's better. According to an article by Sarah Gardner in Origins, a Harvard magazine published by the Historical Department of Ohio State, Confederate groups erected statues throughout the South in the 1900s in order to intimidate African Americans during the Jim Crow era. See, specific stuff. We should take it down because it's not there to honor people. The statue is there to scare people. See, rather than, oh, I don't like it, it's just not good. Here's the specifics. See, that's what I kind of want to see. So, 5 paragraphs, stuff like this. Sorry for the typos in the example. I was just doing it this morning. But anyway, you see what we're trying to do. I want your ideas, but I want to present them well. And again, you have, I will take early drafts. So, the big thing in this class is the difference between, that vague sort of, and the specifics. What's good history and what's real history. Another one that just came up yesterday, and I will undoubtedly refer to it during the class. President Trump issued a study group called the 1776 report, saying that we should, that our history in schools, particularly college, is being taught badly and unpatriotically, that we dwell too much on bad stuff like slavery, and we don't concentrate on the good patriotic stuff. Well, that's up to you. I will go over all sides of these debates, and so you could decide what works for you. Anyway, so this is how we look at media history. Okay, here's an example. First Amendment. First Amendment was dead. There is no reason to fear it's irrelevant. We live in a golden age of governments and everyone's trying to control speech, discredit and harass the press, and manipulate public debate. In other words, it's irrelevant because everybody is trying to stop free speech. Twitter, Facebook. A lot of my friends have been taken off of Facebook and Twitter because they have political ideas. Now, is that right? Is that wrong? Free speech, do we really have it? On the other hand, First Amendment guarantees freedom of speech. Freedom gives Americans a right to express themselves without have to worry about, and I will make this a little bigger, without government interference. This is one of the things with Facebook and Twitter. They're not the government. They're private businesses and they can do whatever they want. But you don't, when the government starts censoring, that's when we're in real trouble. So what is it? Do we have real free speech or don't we? Depends on who you ask. Okay. Basics from your STAM textbook that I have listed. And yes, people ask me all the time, do I have to buy the textbook? The answer is we use the textbook. I will quote from it. I will use it. Test questions will come from it. Am I going to keep track of what you do at the bookstore, whether you, and order it from Amazon, order it used, it's much cheaper. But I mean, it's up to you. It's called required because this is what we use in the class. But again, straight out of the textbook, good history is clearly defined, narrow. One of the things that I see all the time is like, again, oh, I think we should take down the statue because of racial stuff. That's not clearly defined. It's not narrow. It's like racial stuff. What's that? You know, the Civil War is about, you know, was about slavery. Yes, but it was pretty complicated. When we do ancient stuff that we still use, and you talk about the Bible, which we obviously still use, but the Bible is many, 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 many books and verses. You can't do the whole Bible in 300 words. You can take the book of Psalms, you could take the book of Revelation and write an essay. But no, the whole thing, no, this is what I mean. Clearly defined, succinct, narrow. Tell me what you're talking about. Bibliographic soundness is that you're backing your stuff up with somebody who knows what they're talking about, that it's not all opinion. When I look at the Nathan Bedford Forrest stuff, I will look to see whether or not you're taking something from Breitbart or Newsmax, which obviously have a political viewpoint. And by the same token, maybe Huffington Post on the left side. So find something that isn't too biased. Authoritative, and that's an authoritative source. Primary source, someone who was there. Problem with a primary source is if you were there during the Civil War and you're from a farm in Cleveland, Tennessee, do you know all the bigger implications? Probably not. You know what things look like, but you don't know the broader implications. Secondary source is somebody who does have some authority to know what he or she is talking about, but they might not have the experience of really being there. Ultimately, both are good. Okay. Research and good history. What I'm asking you to do is not just write a little opinion piece. Our first thing is to do a little bit of research. Go to the library. What's wrong with a Google search? Anybody? Google search, the problem is that you don't get the list of best sources, you get the most popular. So if you have a list of stuff from Google, it might not be the best source. Those of you in sales and marketing, you business majors out there, something called SEO, search engine optimization. You have a bot doing a search for you 100 times over, you're gonna come up higher on somebody's Google search. And everybody does it. So that doesn't make it a good source necessarily. So research, get good, various sources. What do most of them say? Look at them for bias and perspective, understanding explicit and implicit meanings of what they say, what they're hinting at, and as well as what they say, and explaining the essence where they're from. Again, on the monuments, here is a good source. It is from Ohio State University. They are unbiased. This is somebody who studies the history, and this is what they came out with. So yeah, that basically the statues are, most of them came, here's one about Robert E. Lee. Mostly, they're saying that these coincided with the rise of Jim Crow. Most of these statues were put up to intimidate people of color. Earlier statues are more peaceful. The one at the pinnacle of Lookout Mountain was put up by Civil War veterans of both sides, and it is not a general on a horse. It is just a pillar with people's names. That's different than an intimidating guy on a horse. They come from different things. See, here's regular folks, but here's all the background on the statues. And you notice they were mostly put up early 20th century, not after the Civil War. So there's a political aspect to a lot of the statues. Now, just because some people put them up that way, does that mean we look at it that way now? This is what history does. It changes over time. How we look at history. Up until about 6-7 years ago, the Confederate flag was on the statue of, it was on the Capitol at South Carolina. And then some nutcase came in and killed a whole bunch of people at a black church, and he used the Confederate flag as his symbol. After that, Governor Nikki Haley, a Republican, took down the flag. After that incident, that flag meant something different to a lot of people. So, you know, looking at history, we look at history changing over time. So here's a good example of a good article rather than an opinion piece. So this week, I want you to look into what you think. And there are arguments on many sides of this particular thing. So think about it. I will take early drafts of the essay through tomorrow, through Friday afternoon, about 2 o'clock. Give you a chance to do it. If I have revisions, you can send me an early draft, and we'll talk about this stuff as it comes up. Anyway, that's what I wanted to cover today. You tell me any questions on what's coming up. Anything going on? You hear it? Well,
I was just going to ask a question about the sources.
Yeah.
You said a link. Does that mean we just put the website's link, or is it in a format?
Just list it. Yeah, just list it. I don't looking for MLA or APA style. I don't really care. I care that you back up your thoughts. Typical essay length, I say 300 is the minimum. Typical more 5, 6, a page and a half to 2 pages usually does it. But I'm not going to sit and count every word. If you have one paragraph of 50 words, you're not doing it. You know, so you kind of saw, I kind of, you know, have some bits of an example there. I didn't want to give you a full essay because then everybody's going to copy it. Other stuff.
Is the essay prompt on Canvas?
Yes. It is in assignments, it is on modules, it's all there. You can upload it as a link, as a PDF or JPEG or whatever format. Cut and paste it, I'll get it.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Other stuff. Okay, well, I appreciate it. I look forward to it. I'm real thrilled with the attendance so far. Here for other issues, if you just need to vent and say, I'm stuck in my house, I get it. I go from the bedroom to the kitchen to the dog park later, play wash pint, but that's my life, so I get it. So if you need to talk or vent or whatever, we're here to help. All right? Anyway, drafts through the week. Let me know. We'll talk to you soon. See you on Thursday. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.